Can you believe it? It's our 40th episode. That's right, number 40 of the Sustainable Ministry Show. Thank you, Facebook. Hi, everybody. We are back again with the Sustainable Ministry Show. We are still in Florida, but we're not on the 2.5-week Ministry Architects Retreat. We just recorded this last week, and we're glad to be back with you again. So here we are. Melissa Rao, Stephen Ingram, myself, Bryant Johnson. And one of the things we did on the retreat this week was to talk about a book on leadership. Melissa is...
creepily floating it up.
sharing that with you. It's by John C Maxwell. It's How Successful People Lead. And we're going to spend some time talking about that today, and then really want you to kind of wrestle with that. So, Melissa, you want to tell us a little bit about the book?
Oh, it's a great book. Stephen and I were talking about how John Maxwell is just so great and concise, and he writes
super easy to read.
Super easy, layman's terms. You don't have to go back and reread the paragraph you just read. Super easy. But there are 5 levels he claims to leadership, and that it typically starts with level 1, and you will move up the pyramid, if you will. If you are the most effective leader will achieve the level 5, which is called the pinnacle. So just to fill you in, if you haven't read the book, first of all, if you haven't, you should. It's fantastically practical and really helpful.
Fantastically.
So the first level of leadership is position, and that is based on rights, and people will follow you just because they have to. It's because of the position you might hold. The second level is permission. That's based on relationships, and people will follow you because they want to. The third level is production, which is based on results. And people will follow you if you're in the production level because of what you have done for the organization. Level 4 is people development. That's based on reproduction. And so people will follow because of what you have done for them. This is the level when leaders are duplicating themselves. And then the 5th level is pinnacle. That is based on respect. And people follow because of who you are and what you represent. And so that's just a little bit of the background.
Yeah. I like this book a lot. And if for no other reason, if you just get those 5 levels and what Melissa just said, you've already scored a huge win. I like to look at this book and think about it as where most leaders fall, where most leaders get stuck. And most leaders that I work with usually get stuck around level 3. What I see happen is young leaders get stuck at level 1 very, very easily, because especially if they're in their first leadership position, if it's their first time to kind of be over things or manage or oversee people, a lot of times I see leaders get stuck at that position 1 because there's a sense of, I've arrived. I've got the job, I've got the title, I've got the desk, I've got the office, I've arrived. And people should do what I'm supposed to, or what I want them to do, because I'm in the position that tells people what to do. And I see young leaders get stuck there a lot of times because there is this sense of, I've made it to the mountaintop. What they don't realize is they've just made it to one plateau, and there's still a great mountain to climb, right? Number 2, the way I think folks, and y'all jump in here, but the way I think folks get stuck we flip it back over real quick.
Sure.
The way I think folks get stuck at number 2 is it's the permission piece. And that, if you're a people person, if you enjoy affirmation from others, if that feeds your soul, it is very easy to get stuck at number 2, because all of a sudden you've gone beyond, I have a position, I have a title, but you have people around you who affirm you. And it's very easy to kind of stop there.
This is the trust building stage.
Yep, that's right.
With folks, especially as you get permission to make decisions or try something new, and then moving into production. All of that's about trust building. With folks, making a decision that then other people believe in or have some buy-in in. It doesn't mean they're on board with you yet.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
They like you. They trust you, right? But then the number 3, and I think this is, for a lot of folks that I see in ministry, this is where they get stuck, or not even that they get stuck. This is where they think the summit of the mountain is. If I can just get that group bigger, if I can just grow this church to a certain size, if we can be the biggest youth group or the biggest church, and they see that. So what you do is you have ministers, youth ministers, children's ministers spending millions of dollars a year going to summits, going to conferences, reading books about how to grow their church. Those are the folks who are either aspiring to level 3 as the top level or who are stuck in level 3.
Right.
And so I think most folks who I interact with are stuck somewhere between levels 1 and 3
Yeah.
for that reason. And most folks don't even know there's a level 4 and 5.
Isn't that funny you say that? Because I'm thinking of, what is the big difference between level 3 and level 4? And it's what everybody wants in churches. They want their people to be empowered and living into their own calling as ministers. And so it's so amazing to me that you just said that, because of course that's what one of the issues that the church is having today is the lack of empowerment. And maybe it's because their leaders stuck at that level 3 because they're producing. They're getting results. They might be attaining. I think that was you just blew my mind. And so y'all, level 4 is the empowerment stage. You're empowering others to do the work. Therefore, you are respected because you've actually given people purpose and they feel good about their position within the leadership levels.
Yeah. The movement between level 3 and 4, level 3 is the savior complex. Level 4 is where Jesus makes disciples.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. So one of the things that we talked about too is, and it's in the book, it's easy to fall. And you, just because you might be one level up in one area or context of your life, does not necessarily mean that you're that same level everywhere. So you might be a level 4 in church, you might be a level 2 at home, et cetera, et cetera. And so I did make a statement. I said, I think I've achieved level 4 in some areas of my life. I don't think I've ever achieved level 5. I'm working on it. And, it's so funny. One of our fearless leaders, Jeff Dunrankin, who is our VP of consulting for Ministry Architects, he so wisely said, he's like, well, if you think you've reached level 5, you probably haven't. So what do you think about
It's so
all this?
true. Yeah. I think it's a brilliant thing to know that a lot of churches are stuck in the volunteer place, and to realize that they may be in a place where the staff person is just producing results and spending so much time on doing that, and then asking those questions about, well, why won't anybody else join me in this? And even though you might have a volunteer development plan in place or a plan for recruiting and meetings, we'll hear folks say, well, nobody comes to the meetings. But I wonder, based on what you're saying, and Stephen was saying that, and all these questions were popping. I wonder if that's because we haven't really focused then on the individuals who are helping as much as we have focused on increasing numbers or participation or another program or whatever that stuff is.
And the important thing is that you have to focus on that production on level 3 before you can go to level 4.
That's right.
And so what leaders have to understand is that you can't feel bad about growing the organization. What you have to do is remember that that's not the end goal, right? That by growing the organization, by broadening the pond, by widening the buy-in and the involvement, what you're doing is you're giving yourself a greater pool to then create leaders from.
Right. And to piggyback on that, you can't get to the production level of leadership if you're doing it by yourself.
That's right.
If your organization is achieving results based upon what you and you alone have done, you are lacking the relationships that are needed in order to help the whole entire organization be productive. And so I would actually argue that if you haven't built relationships along the way, then you're probably still stuck in number 1, doing it all alone.
That's
you
right.
can't be a leader if there aren't people following and coming along with you.
Yeah. And I think the movement from level 1 to level 2, from position to permission, is probably the slowest. And
That's right.
And even if you've been in ministry, for 10 years, and you go to a new church and a new staff and a new location, new people, you start at level 1. You may be a level 4 leader in some other place or with some other group of people, but this new church, you're level 1, and that movement again from, I'm the director to you allowing me to make some decisions and help move this thing forward. That's slow. It's a slow process. I don't think we can force it to be fast. It may move quick for some people, but I think that movement is slow.
I think the more conscious you are of this, and this is why I think this book is so helpful for you guys and for us, is because the more conscious you are of this, the less likely you are to make those mistakes of trying to of leapfrogging the levels.
Right.
I got this guy who I know and I've known for several years now, and he's a youth minister, just a great guy, and his heart is a level 4 kind of guy. He has this disciple making kind of heart. He's really good at it. He's very contemplative. He's just a really, really, really good, insightful guy. And he went to a church, and he went into that church wanting to make disciples. That's a great thing, right? And so for about a year and a half, his first year and a half or so, he was so frustrated because he was trying to pour into people as much as he could to create disciples. And what he didn't realize, and this book has given language to, was that he was skipping over steps 1, 2, and 3. Now, he had the position, but there was somebody in that position a lot longer than him before he was there. And so truthfully, he didn't even fully have buy-in in his position yet. So he hadn't even established level 1. And then the permission piece, nobody had really gotten to know him because he was trying to pour into a small group, right? So people hadn't really gotten to know him. And 3, the production piece is the group was small. It had taken a nosedive after the previous youth minister had left. It had taken a nosedive, and he had not built those numbers back up. So instead of parents focusing on all the goodness he was doing, pouring into their kids, they were focusing on, well, we don't really know you. And 2, why is our group so small? It's never been this small before. So we went back, and this was before I knew this book. This kind of happened organically, and started to build levels 1, 2, and 3. And 3 was the final one where the group started to explode. And all of a sudden, he had all these kids coming, and then he had permission to start living into that level 4, and he's doing incredible stuff right now. So it's a really neat story to see how folks kind of move through that.
So I'm curious, Bryant, Stephen, do you have any examples of who you know or who we may know who are level 5 leaders?
I mean, DeVries is.
Of course.
For sure. Jeffy is.
For sure.
Kefe.
Yeah, for sure. Mark and Jeff, they're the leaders of Ministry Architects. I assume most people know, but they may not.
Yeah.
They're absolutely level 5 leaders.
For sure. But why?
They continue to pour into our staff. Continue to pour into our staff. They, you get this sense when you work with either of them, they want you to be excellent.
That's right.
That's right.
And they don't really care what they're doing. They step out of the spotlight, step out of all of that. They just want you to be really good at what you do.
Yeah.
And so even, with both of them, at least for me, where there have been moments of correction,
Yeah.
I felt really good about it.
Yep.
And sometimes, it felt like they were taking the blame for the mistake I made. And then I get to just live into this new thing. That's a level 5 leader.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's in those moments of correction. Mark especially, because I've known Mark for so long, and Jeff falls in the same place with me. When they say something to me that if most anyone else in my life would say some of the things they would say to me, I would take offense to it. When they say things that are constructive, when they tell me things, hey, you know what? I think if you move in this direction, you're going to hurt yourself. If you move in this direction, I think you're going to do good. I have no defenses against that. I go, yes. Even if I don't understand or don't even necessarily agree with them, I trust them enough because they have traveled those steps with me. I trust them enough to say, you know what? At this moment, you know better for me than I know for myself. Yeah. And that's a level 5 leader.
And I have to say too, we've all been with Ministry Architects for nearly 5 years. At least I've been. You've been a little longer than I have. And even though Mark DeVries and Jeff Dunrankin were probably level 5 leaders with everybody else, despite when you are new, I don't necessarily know that they earned 5 in my esteem right away, just because, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to go through the levels together.
That's right.
I, as the follower, need to believe in this level 5 leader because of what we've gone through. And so, I was just looking at this and I'm like, gosh, they're master relationship builders. Master. And in fact, and by the way, once you've become level 5, it doesn't mean that you're no longer
That's right.
the level 2, 3, 4, et cetera, et cetera.
Transcend and encompass.
It is so amazing. And so, I spent like an hour and a half with Jeff on a walk yesterday, just building relationship and connecting personally. And I felt valued. I hope he felt valued by our time together. And I know he did because he's such a great guy.
Yep.
He values relationship. And then, results. Hello. That's what we do, right?
Yep.
And then, people development, it's like they care about developing us as leaders. And that's how you get to level 5, because there is not a thing in this world that would undermine my value and the respect that I have for those two gentlemen.
Yep, that's right.
For sure. What about others? Like, can you maybe picture other leaders, maybe across the landscape that everybody else might know because of where they are? Can you think of anybody? And why they might be that?
I'm stumped.
Yeah, right? I was even thinking of, and this is politics aside, but like the president. Is the president a number 5 leader for me? No, because I don't have a relationship with him or her.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen, I mean, I might have seen some results, but are those results based upon what they have or that I have? And so I really believe, friends, I think all of this is tied together through relationship. And if you don't have relationship, most leadership is indeed position.
I think that's what makes, I think that's the reason why we're kind of stumped in trying to think about others that, you know, everybody, all you guys would know, because this whole process, like you just said, is steeped and based in relationship. And so unless you're in an organization or in a relationship with the person you're talking about, then they're not going to achieve this. And so I think that's important to also note that all good leadership is grounded in relationship, right? Yeah. And so to try to find a common leader that you know, everybody understands and everybody knows is going to be next to impossible. Probably.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I think every week we probably say in some form, like, if you want to talk about this, reach out to us.
Yeah.
But we really mean it. If you do want to talk about this, I think we can sit down with folks over the phone, Skype, FaceTime, whatever, and just help you identify maybe where in this scale you sit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's important, I think, as people on staff, as maybe even in your families or in your friend groups, just identify where you are. Especially on church staff, identify where you are so that you can begin moving forward. You may be stuck, not because you're doing the wrong things, but because it's unclear where in this leadership scale you are.
Sure.
And you've got to move through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we would love to do that. If there's some piece of that you just want to talk about, we actually are serious when we say we'd love to talk with you about that.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to reach out to us and we can dig in deeper. If you just want to explore the book, it's easy. As Stephen said earlier, it's easy to read, easy to get through. You'll pick it up and you'll be through it in no time. So How Successful People Lead by John Maxwell. We recommend a book almost every single episode.
Yeah.
Do you realize this?
No, actually, I
like
didn't until you said it.
Because we're nerds.
So Melissa, how can people find you and reach out to you to say, let's have a conversation?
Oh my gosh, totally email me, melissa@ministryarchitects.com. I'm on Twitter, Melissa Rao, and you can find me on Facebook pretty easy. I'm sure we have lots of mutual friends.
That is always fun, isn't it?
When you
go to make a new friend on Facebook, you realize you got all these mutual. That's
awesome.
That's great. That's good. Yeah, I'd love to hang out with you also. It is. It's fun.
It is good.
Thanks, Facebook. Making the world a little smaller. Come. I'd love for you to come hang out over at 12stonespirituality.com or email me at Stephen@ministryarchitects.com. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
So email me at Bryant@ministryarchitects.com. On Twitter, like Melissa and Stephen, at @TheBJohnson, or Instagram, which I probably use more than anything, really, which is Bryant Johnson. We can't really talk there. It's
you use
a weird
Instagram more than any of
conversation
the others?
place. I think so.
Wow.
I like to take a lot of pictures and
Of like food?
just stuff.
Okay.
If the
This is my shoe.
If the food is
At
moving me,
Johnson.
if the food is moving me, but that's Bryant Johnson is my Instagram thing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm have to come check you out on Instagram. I don't have an Instagram personally.
What?
I don't. Because I used to run our youth ministries one, and you can't have multiple Instagram accounts.
Right.
So I was like, well, this works better. I'll just keep the youth ministry one on. So I've not done that yet. So
Yeah, I'm I want to be a photographer.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to pour the time into learning how to do it well.
Okay.
So I take a lot of pictures, and then occasionally I get one.
Okay.
That's what I share.
That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to checking out
Thank you,
Brian's Instagram
Facebook.
account. Thank you, Facebook.
All right, thanks so much, you guys. We'd love to chat with you. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Ha ha ha!